Kimu. There is a gray wolf at the park, though, that makes me a little jittery. Jittery. As in, I mean, sometimes I worry he might like to eat me. His name is Kimu. And we struck up a conversation when a mutual acquaintance of ours, a mockingbird called Mitch, introduced us one day. Like Nutwit, Mitch likes to taunt me because I'm domesticated. Gives me a lot of grief about how free he is, soaring stringless over the whole town. I'm not the only one who's pampered, I say one day. I mean, look at Kimu. He's not exactly running wild. As soon as the words were out of my mouth, I regretted them. And when I looked at Kimu, I could kill you with one bite expression. I really regretted that. In any case, I said, moving on to another subject, I've lived wild. It ain't a picnic for a dog. What's it like? Kimu asked. He moved closer to the edge of the domain. He had a strange odor, an intense and a little scary and a little bit intoxicating. Well, I was just a pup, I said. I abandoned by the side of the highway. Kimu was listening intently. That must have been tough. All I could think of was food, water. I didn't like the catch in my voice. An owl got me. Those guys are fierce, Kimu said. You can't even hear them coming. I know, right? I said, relaxed a little. I hate owls, said Mitch. I hate them with a passion. They eat birds, you know. So do wolves, said Kimu, giving Mitch a meaningful look. So you were wild once? Asked Kimu. Never born and raised in captivity. Suzu over there, she was. She told the stories about that would curl your fur. Honestly, it's nice to have a roof over my head. It's tough out there. Really, man, it is really tough. I suppose, said Kimu. I looked at him for the first time and wondered if I really did have any wolf in me. He was majestic, with teeth that could shred a tree trunk. I am also majestic, but more portable, with teeth that could mangle a pencil maybe, if enough time and effort. Hey, Bob, Mitch said. Do dogs howl the way the wolves do? Of course we do. So let's hear something. Duet, maybe. He fluttered his wings, revealing startling patches of white. Do you know? Talk to the animals? They play that on the carousel. Go away, Mitch, said Kimu with just one tight amount of menace in his voice. Come on, just a little howling. Pretend there's no moon, or pretend there's a moon. Pretend you're free. Pretend. Kimu growled, and so did I. It was pretty impressive. Guttural, deep. It spoke of death and dismemberment and all kinds of unpleasant bird nightmares. I growled too. It spoke of me being mildly peeved. Still, Mitch got the message. He disappeared in a blur of wings. Actually, I've never howled at the moon, I admitted. Me either, said Kimu. I'd feel like a silly doing that out here. Enrichment. We're almost to my favorite spot in the whole park. The great thing for me is that one corner of Gorilla World meets up against Elephant Odyssey, the area where Ruby lives. A low stone wall separates the two spaces, and there's a moat on the elephant side. The section connects like two slices of pie, and my secret spot is right in the center, where I can hang out with my crew. Ivan and Ruby both have access to indoor habitats, which is great when the weather isn't cooperating. The indoor space for gorillas ain't bad. I call it a gorilla villa. And it has tons of ropes and hammocks and branches to climb. Humans watch through a thick wall of glass while the young gorillas run around like kids at recess. But whenever Julie and I visit, we can almost always find Ivan and Ruby outside. We trudge up a little rise, though it isn't much of a hill. We live in a pretty flat part of the world. From there I can see just about everything in the park. The parking lot, the creek, far beyond that. Every now and then, I even catch a glimpse of the ocean. My secret place is a little hard to get to, right near the keeper's shed. Nicely hidden by trees and bushes, under the magnolia tree, there's a bench shaped like a gorilla holding out its arms like Julia, likes to sit there and draw. Sometimes she does her homework, which smells like frustration and a hint of eraser. Whenever I visit, Julia props me up on the stone wall and separates me from Ruby's world and from Ivan's. Visitors can't see me, and the keepers pretend not to see me. If they caught me or any other dog there, they'd be out in a heartbeat. But Ivan and Ruby and I have a history, and I make them happy. I'm what you might call enrichment. At the park, they try to keep animals engaged with surprises and challenges and changes to their environment. That's what enrichment is all about. The gorillas get watermelons to demolish and boxes to hide in and markers for drawing. And elephants get sprinkles and flavored water and elephant-sized rubber balls. Not exactly like a day at the real jungle, of course. But the keepers try hard to make life interesting. For Ivan and Ruby, I'm the ultimate enrichment. I'm their best pal. Walls and bad guys. Julia takes me out of her backpack and settles me onto the wide wall. It's my favorite place on the planet because it means I can see Ruby and Ivan, but I also kind of hate it. Walls will do that to you. Ivan being Ivan, a mellow kind of guy, takes a good with the bad, and only gets angry when he truly needs to. When I complain about the walls at the park, he says, walls keep the animals in, but they also keep the bad guys out. Of course, gorillas don't have a whole lot of bad guys to deal with. Elephants either. So humans step in to fill that void. Dogs, well, sometimes it feels like we have enemies galore. Everyone wants a piece of you. Humans treat us badly. Cats and cars really have it in for us. Even if we get eaten by coyotes, which is kind of like having your cousin invite you over for dinner and then inform you you're the main course. Although I'd probably be just an appetizer. Anyways, after 7 years stuck in a mall, Ivan and those glass half full kind of guys. You know, when it comes to the walls surrounding him, glad to be with others of his own kind, cared by smart, loving humans. I'm more of a water bowl is half empty kind of guy. Every time I leave Ivan and Ruby, I'm painfully aware that when I can leave. Ivan's address is Gorilla World. Ruby's address is Elephant Odyssey. And me, well, I guess my address is the same as Julia and George and Sarah's. 1249 Hinman Avenue. I mean, of course it is. I've been living there a whole year now. It is. And yet sometimes I still wake up at night and think, gotta find a shelter, gotta find safety, gotta find somewhere to belong. Guess I don't want to ever get too comfortable.